What's up, everyone? Today we have Mr. Harris from Falcon Wealth Planning. Today we go into budgeting, how to have conversations around money with your kids. He talks to homeschooling families, maybe whose one parent is working, the other one staying home. How can they build a good financial plan? All in all, he brought a lot of knowledge around our financial pillar. Beth, what do you have for it?
I loved how he talked about how we need to demonstrate good money habits to our kids and have open conversations at the dinner table. I think he provided some really good resources and actionable steps for homeschooling families.
Me too. I absolutely enjoyed it. We'll see you guys inside. What's up, everyone? Today we have Mr. Earl Harris. He is a Ramsey Solution certified. My man, he can help every single one of our families here with the financial pillar. If you could, Mr. Harris, just give us a quick introduction, kind of who you are, how you kind of got into the financial industry, and then kind of what led you to be where you're at today.
Absolutely. So, for the last 6 years, I've worked for Falcon Wealth Planning.
Mhm.
We are a registered investment advisory firm that started in the state of California, but we are a national RIA.
Wow.
So we work with people all over the country. I help build the business development team for Falcon and have been a part of that process over the last 6 years. We grew our business in those 6 years from a 1.67 million to $1.65 billion AUM
Oh my gosh.
in 6 years. So, and we are recognized in the industry as being one of the top firms in growth over the last 6 years.
Dude,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah,
That's amazing. Wow. Congratulations. If you could, you said ROA. Could you just clarify for the audience? RIA.
RIA, Registered Investment Advisor. So,
Perfect.
Falcon is a fee-only fiduciary. That term fiduciary means that we have to do what's in the best interest of people. We can't take advantage of them. We must always seek to benefit them over ourselves. Fee only means we don't sell products. We don't make commissions. We're not in this for ourselves. Our advisors are salaried. We we
No
we
way.
we don't receive anything from a third party. It's just us and the client that is in the relationship. So a lot of advisors have a relationship with a broker dealer in which they get compensated for promoting their products, promoting things that will benefit them, not always in the best interest of the client. There's stipulations that they have to follow. It has to be a suitable investment, but it may not be in their best interest. It may not achieve
Mhm.
all their goals. So we are a teaching firm. We believe people need to have the knowledge that they need to live the life they want to live. The president of our company, Gabriel Shahin, started this. He got into the industry because he started helping his family members. So we're
Okay.
very family focused. We're very family centered. We consider ourselves a family. Gabriel wrote a book, How the Rich Get Richer. And it's not for the 1%, it's for all the other people. It's for all the people who need to know how to benefit from the blessings of what they receive and how to take the most advantage of that for whatever goals they're trying to accomplish. So my team has a constant engagement with people, setting meetings with our advisors who are all CFPs. All of them are certified financial planners. That's kind of the gold standard in the industry. And we give them two free meetings at no cost. We analyze their situation. We place recommendations in front of them, say, here's what you should do. Whether you decide to hire us or not, these are the steps you need to take to benefit you and your family. If it makes sense for them to hire us, we quote them a fee, either for a financial plan or to manage their investments. So that's what keeps us purely on the right side of the table, their
I
side.
love that. Now,
Yeah,
do you think, just before we get into the finance aspect, do you think because you guys, like you said, you're salary based and you're doing everything right, do you think that's one of the reasons you guys saw such exponential growth in such a short period of time?
I believe that is the reason. I mean, there are a lot of bigger firms than us.
Of course, but I mean, this the amount you've grown is still impressive.
The well, we do acquire a lot of what we call leads from various sources.
Mm,
And we are a Dave Ramsey National SmartVestor Pro. So we receive a lot of people who come to us through various platforms,
mm,
and we market heavily. We do a lot of ads throughout the country, Google ads, you name it. So it's been a very aggressive marketing and business development approach that has gained us a lot of the clients. But again, the proof is in the pudding. We have to demonstrate what we can do for people. They're not going to hire us if we just try to say, "Hey, we got to charge you a fee." That just doesn't. We've got, and that's why we give the free assessment to anybody who comes to us, and we'll honestly and objectively. And the other thing, we don't just look at the investments. We also believe it's about saving people as much of their investments. If they're going to retire someday, if they built up a big 401k, they're going to have to start taking from that 401k. It's called RMDs, required minimum distributions. 73, you're mandated to start receiving from your 401k. A lot of times, because of the wealth people have grown, they end up being in a higher tax bracket in retirement than when they were working. So taxes is a key part of saving people money. It's not just about, hey, let's put your money in the stock market. Let's put your money over here. It's a comprehensive, holistic approach that we take.
mm. Love it. I love it. Now, like I said, we talk to homeschooling families. So, a lot of times, even like I was homeschooled my whole life. So was Miss Beth. Uh, Sometimes the parents, both of them can work. Sometimes only one can work. When they're living on a fixed income and they maybe only have one spouse earning, what is some things that they can do? Would it be investing? Would it be saving up to a certain amount to kind of make sure their household is financially secure, understanding that maybe they don't have the benefit of both families going out and making a
Yeah.
nice salary?
Yeah, I think there's a big problem in America. We have to learn to live within our means.
Mm,
It starts with really understanding the family financial situation with a good budget
hmm
and sticking to it. And a big problem in America is that for the amount of income we have, then we have an extreme amount of debt. As a country,
hmm
we are constantly kicking the can down the road, wanting to pay, later, right? So credit card use is huge. Is it all right if I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, I've got a little. Now, this is a little slightly outdated. This is from 2017. Can you see this?
It's loading right now. It's
There
there.
we
Yes,
go.
sir.
That looks
Okay.
great.
So this is from 2017. The average American personal finance is 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge. For many Americans, the financial future is uncertain. Although U.S. is wealthy compared to other countries, the amount of debt the average American carries is shocking. So we want to have it all now. We live in the microwave mentality.
Yes, sir.
If we don't have it, we're going to put it on a credit card. People spend a lot of money on cars. They
Mhm.
finance these cars. They're in over their heads. So the average consumer, again, 78 of people are living paycheck to paycheck. It's a simple math equation. What you have coming in, what you have going out, what you have left over is what you have to grow and invest for the future. So I start out with a very simple equation. Everything you have coming in, 50% of that should be going towards your expenses as a budget. You should not be living beyond 50% of what your monthly income is. 30% should be going towards either paying off debt or building up savings or saving for what you want. That's your wants, 30%. And 20% should be going towards your future, investing. So it starts with a good budget and then sticking to that budget and then having a plan. But it all starts with goals. People need to have goals. And we talk about how do you create a SMART goal? And SMART goals is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time sensitive. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay. So if I want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months and I'm going to keep that off over the next year, there's a smart goal. Can I do that? That's losing 10 pounds a month, right? So is that achievable? Yeah, if I watch my diet, I exercise, as part of that goal, I'm going to see a good result. Losing 10 pounds a month is, a little bit more than a couple pounds a week, right? So that's an achievable goal. And is it relevant to me? Yeah, I want to get healthy. I want to live a longer life. I want to be here for my children. And I set a time limit because I don't want to just say, okay, I'll get to it eventually. And it has to be relatable. So a SMART goal, again, is something that people need to start with their goals long term, get the big term picture, build backwards. So if you're 30 years old and you want to retire at 60, then you better make sure that you're planning for that future life and that you're doing what you can to build to that future. But then you got to work your way backwards. Where am I today? And how can I make a difference? How can I change my mindset? It's all about mindset. It's having the right perspective. It's not just living for today. It's about having a plan for the future and sticking to that plan. And that's where people fail mostly because they're just trying to live day to day. Can you bring some more income in? Can you work a part-time? Can the husband, if he's only got one job, can he work a part-time job? Can he work a weekend job, get some more income
Mhm.
coming in? Can the
Mhm.
mom do something at home where she's maybe on the computer doing something like
Yep.
that, a few extra bucks?
Mhm.
All that could go towards paying off debt, saving for your kids' education, doing whatever you can for that future goal to
Yeah,
make it a
definitely.
success, right? So it's a mindset. It's not just living for today, it's living for 30 years down the road.
I like that. And then something I think you made a great point there. A lot of when it comes to the mindset, a lot of people think that when they have the one job, they're doing everything they can, but they can always pick up a side hustle, something they can just make some extra
Mhm.
money. But also when it comes to that mindset, how do a lot of people I've come across are they don't have a set mindset around money. You know what I mean? It's more of like a transactional approach. I make this, I can spend this. Where would you start with really kind of educating their mindset to be, okay, planning for the future, how to know 50%, like, you said, where does that education begin if we have parents out here that maybe just went through life without having it so far?
Yeah, and everybody has a past. We grew up, most families didn't teach us how to balance a checkbook.
Mm,
Most people didn't teach us about how to invest, how to grow our wealth, how to be
Mhm.
disciplined, how to change where we are right now. I mean, for myself, I came from a broken family. I started working when I was 18. I was in the hospitality industry, started out as a waiter, worked my way up to a manager. I had to have that uh, within myself that there was something greater that I needed to achieve than just where I was. I got to understand what my purpose is here. And I got to know that there's something that drives me, a passion that I wake up every day, whether I'm making $1 million or not, I go and do that
Mhm.
to the very best of my ability because that's what I was purposed to do. So it's really taking some time to evaluate yourself in your life. How did I get to where I am? What are the things that happened to me, and how can I make a difference for my children? And having again that mindset that I'm going to make a difference in their lives, whether I had that for myself. That maybe my father and mother didn't do all they could for me. Maybe I came from a good home and maybe I just was a spoiled kid. Maybe I just didn't appreciate all that I had. It's got to come from a sense of gratitude, you know, that I have an abundance of blessings in my life that it's not for me to squander those. It's for me to pass it on to future generations. And it's blessed to be able to give. So when we hoard things, when we have this mindset, it's all about me. What can I do for me,
Mhm.
me, me?
Mhm.
Then we've gotten the focus on something that, again, is never going to bring us that joy and satisfaction.
I love it. I love
Um,
it.
David, can I just jump in
Yes,
real
man.
quick?
Jump on in.
How do you suggest families work on that gratitude mindset? Like, do you have any actionable steps that they can take and kind of getting that focus off themselves?
Well, there's lots of ways you can look around to see what other people don't have. I mean, you can
Hmm. Hmm.
go down to any big city and see the
Yeah.
homeless,
Mm.
Yeah.
that somebody's sitting on the street without anything.
Hmm.
Hey, Joey, we could be there.
Yeah.
We could be living on the streets, but daddy and mommy, we work hard
Hmm. Hmm.
because we want to provide for you. And someday,
Yeah.
Joey, you want to become a fireman or you want to do this, you have dreams, you have goals, you have to teach them that, hey, there's something ahead for you, that there's a
Yeah.
future and a hope. And but where we are right now, we can be really grateful. And that's not to say we're going to look down on those other people, but
Right.
we have to be able to realize that we are very fortunate where we are right now
Hmm.
and just be thankful. Hey, we got a roof over our heads. We got
Hmm.
food on the table. You got clothes
Hmm.
on the back. You got an ability to learn and grow in education, which is a key part of what you're doing here with the kids. And then what's the purpose of that? Why are you learning? Are you
Mm.
learning just to take it in, or
Yeah.
are you gonna use that to benefit others, benefit your family? It's not just about head knowledge, it's about heart knowledge. It's about
Mm.
taking what you learn, putting
Hmm.
it here, and then driving it outward. That's the goal
That's
of
great.
education because that knowledge puffs us up.
Hmm.
We get, we get our heads, we get blown up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and then
Yeah.
again, we focus on want, me, and without having that knowledge that uh, it's not all about us.
That's great.
It's not all about us.
That's right. And I think too, what you had said earlier about we live in an age of instant gratification, that mindset of gratitude and getting the focus off ourselves is more important than ever. That's valuable, very valuable. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah, we see that all around us.
Hmm.
It's unfortunate, and
Yeah.
money's not evil. It's what we do with money.
Hmm.
Money's
Hmm.
immoral. It doesn't have a conscience. It's what
Hmm.
we take the money and do with. I mean,
That's right.
money's a tool for us to use to benefit our families and to benefit others.
Mm.
Yep.
And giving, if you have a charity you give to, put that as part of your budget. Make
Yeah.
something, and then every Christmas, there's, multiple ways that we can bless other people, other families that are not so fortunate. They
That's
do
right.
things down at Salvation Army, teach your
Hmm.
kids to
Hmm.
have that presence of mind that, hey, I have more than enough.
Yeah.
I can bless others.
Yep.
I can do for others. So that's part of that mindset, that overall picture about how can I utilize what has been given to me to
Mm.
make a difference in other people's lives. And I think that's what's at the foundation of Falcon. Why, you asked earlier, why have we done so well? Because we're concerned about other people. We're concerned about
Mm.
making a difference. We want to see other people have the benefits of what they've been blessed with and take the advantage of that and do the most with that. So I think that again is a key part of why we've grown as fast as we've grown, because we touch people's where they're at. We look into their lives in a very key critical place. You can have physical health, you can have mental health, spiritual health, financial health. Those are pillars for everybody to manage their lives, to be a balanced human being. So all those things play a key part in what we do and what other people we hope will learn from us. So
Great.
Yeah, and I forget where I read it at, but there was a study that when they did it where somebody receives a gift and the person given the gift, in the brain, the person who actually gives the gift receives more satisfaction than the person who receives the gift. So it's wired into us to be givers, to help people out, and it shows in our biology when we actually do it.
well, you've heard of the runner's high where the dopamine kicks in. It's the giver's high.
I
Mm-hmm.
like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the giver's dopamine. And the more you
Yes.
give, the more you get back. It's
Mm-hmm.
really you're doing for others is bringing back to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that we get so narrow-minded. So it's
Yes.
having that a bigger perspective, bigger worldview. a
Yeah.
worldview that takes into the fact that, hey, we're all in this together.
Hmm.
We're all here for a purpose,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and we're all created in the image of God, and
Hmm.
we all
Hmm.
have um, uh, we're all precious.
Yes,
Human
sir.
I
life.
love that. Yeah.
So bringing it back to the budget,
Okay.
you know, when I, even in my own life, sometimes, you'll make a budget, you'll be very committed to it. And then all of a sudden, 3 months down the road, you look up and you recognize, wow, I haven't even taken my budget into consideration the past couple of weeks, you know? Is
Hmm.
there anything the families can do to make it where like it's a family value, so to speak, of hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure we check at the end of every month, let's say, or the end of every week to make sure we're on the right track. What can they do to kind of make sure they stick to that 50% of the budget that we talked about a little earlier?
Well, that's a key component of making changes is that we can't just think by setting the goal that we've achieved the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to build muscle, you got to go to the gym every day.
Yes, sir.
So you have little conversations about money every day, whether it's just you and the wife. It's 5, 10 minutes. Hey, honey, I found a great deal on tomatoes today at the store. I saved it. I mean, it may sound silly, but it's having regular conversations about the budget. So you start out with a five, maybe at dinner, you bring the kids in on the conversation. If they're all sitting around the dinner table, instead of talking about the Super Bowl or whatever, you talk a little bit about the budget. 5 minutes. So, hey gang, just wanted you to know that I'm concerned about how we're wasting money on this or that. I understand we all want to have that extra soda pop, or I just want you to know that Dad's cutting out his daily Starbucks, $5 on my coffee, so that I
Mm-hmm.
could put some money in your kids in your 529 plan. So
Hmm.
you do that, you talk about it 5 minutes every day, and then once a week, you and the wife sit down for an additional 30 minutes on Saturday to go over the budget.
I love it.
And then once a quarter, you go out and have a celebration dinner of, the congratulations on
Yep.
sticking to the budget. And you talk about you do that for an hour. So that's once every 3 months. You're spending an additional time, and then the wife and the husband take a little trip away, celebrate how well they've done, and they talk about their goals for the coming year,
Mm.
and are they on track, and how can we adjust the budget, and what's changed over this year, and what do we need to do to change the budget. So when you make a budget, every dollar has to have a place. It's a $0 budget. There's a place in the budget for everything. Okay, not just your gasoline or your taxes. Saving for vacation, that's part of the budget. Clothes,
Hmm.
part of the budget. Night out, entertainment, part of the budget. Every dollar you have coming in has to have a place. It has to be assigned a certain category
Mm.
that you do it. And there's a lot of tools you can do. Um, there's Dave Ramsey has one. It's called the Every Dollar Budget app, and you can download this app, and it connects with your bank accounts, and it comes in, and it automatically you can assign those places into the budget automatically. So that's a good tool. I also have a worksheet that I'll share this with you here. See if I can pull it up. Hold on. Can you see that? My
Not yet, no,
okay,
sir.
okay, let me okay, share. Ah, sorry.
No, no
Oh, that's
worries, man.
fine.
Okay.
There it is. It's coming
There we
in.
go.
So monthly expenses itemized. You start with just every dollar that you have and you allocate it to
Mm, mhm,
wherever it needs to go. The home expenses, daily living, children includes clothing, tuition, babysitting, transportation, health, insurance, education, charity, savings, obligations, paying off debt, business expenses, entertainment, everyone, your pets, your subscriptions, your vacation, miscellaneous. So it all balances out to $0.
Mm,
That's where you have to get to so that everything you've put aside for those expenses, you end up with zero at the end of the month. It's all assigned. And
mhm,
that every dollar budget app on Dave Ramsey does a great job too of helping people just stick to their budget. Build the budget, start out from where you are, figure out what your income, what your expenses, and then start working on then you start saying, okay, where can we trim a little bit here? Where can we trim a little bit there? How can we move more? It seems like we're spending way too much on this. We're not spending anything on that. You have it's like running a business. A family, at the end of the month, if I don't show a profit, if I don't show growth, if
mhm.
if I'm the CEO, then I'm gonna get fired.
yep.
I'm not gonna keep my
Mhm.
job very long. So typically in every family there's a CEO and there's a CFO,
Mm,
chief executive officer, chief financial officer. Typically the CFO is the mom.
yep.
She's controlling all the money. No, honey, I'm sorry, you can't have that extra dollar to go buy, that tennis racket or whatever dad wants to buy. Really? Okay, but he's the one that's got to lead the conversation. He's got to say, okay, let's have a company meeting here. Let's sit down, go over what we're doing. Where are we showing gain? Where are we showing loss? How do we cut this? What do
Yep.
we do to help get to a better place, right? How do we show a profit? So that's those are just things that again, the mindset. It's like you got to really take this seriously. So
No, I like that idea of treating it as a business as well, because I mean, at the end of the day, it really is that the parents are the leaders, the kids they got to hold up their end, whatever their little jobs are. And then the money, you have to be profitable. You can't be losing money every single month as a family. It's going to lead to bad things. But you mentioned something earlier about the 529, I think you said.
mhm.
So just for parents who maybe they have younger kids, maybe they just had kids, they're in elementary school, what are some things they can do where they can place money that's going to show a good return for their kids when they do get to 18, if they want to go start a business, go to college, or even just have a little nest egg to buy a home or something?
Well, you can actually open up a custodial IRA if your kid is
Mhm.
making income.
Okay.
So if they have a job and they're getting a paycheck and there's some ways to, and again, you can use that as part of their allowance, but they're earning it. They're
Mm-hmm.
getting instead of an allowance, they're getting a commission because they did the work and they receive income for that work, right? It's teaching them the value of hard work leads to good things. So they can open up a custodial Roth IRA. They can open up a 529 plan. There's certain limitations on the 529 based on the state that they're in and so forth. That's all something to do the research. But then there are ways if they don't use that to convert it now. There's a change in the law about unused 529s and maybe your kid doesn't want to go to college. Maybe they don't want to use that towards tuition. Maybe they want to open up their own business. It's like really knowing what drives the passion of that child. Not, I mean, again, we've we've hyped up education, college education, and getting diplomas so much, but it's not always the thing that's going to benefit them the most. There's degrees that are not going to get them a high pay once they get out of there. So, really knowing how that child is wired and what their passion is, so that whatever you put towards their education, maybe it's a trade school.
Mm,
Maybe the kid likes to tinker, and maybe he's going to be a great mechanic, or maybe he's, building computers at home, or likes to do games or something. You know, um, all the video games. Maybe he builds video games. Maybe he can go to a trade school or something along that line that he could
hmm
utilize that instead of going to college. And um, it's that they weren't really passionate about doing what they were doing. It's just going through the courses and spending a lot of money, and they end up in debt, and then they have to get out of, really the biggest careers who really need, to have that kind of training are doctors and lawyers, and some of these a mechanical engineer. I mean, you got to know how to build a bridge. You better go to college. You better go to a good college, and you better have studied well. So I'm not going to go over your bridge if you don't know what you're doing. So there are certain things that, again, if they want to become a teacher, yeah, they got to get a teaching credential. They got to go through that, and whatever their subject is going to be, they got to know that. But knowing clearly, what do you want to do? What do you have dreams about? Let's talk about what you feel, and then observe them and see what they're good at. Maybe they just want to groom dogs, start their own dog grooming business.
Yep.
I'll pay them.
Okay, so when it comes to, because we're talking about the kids now, sometimes the topic of money can be a forbidden topic within the house.
Mm.
It could be something people, maybe if they're in a rough financial situation, they don't want to bring that stress onto the kids. But what are the things parents can do to kind of, I feel like talking to them early on, kind of involving them, maybe not so to speak, and like, hey, we're about to lose the house, putting that stress on, but really getting that conversation with them early is going to help. What are some things parents can do to kind of prepare them to have those conversations? Maybe if it's a rougher situation, but they still want to kind of get their kids involved in everything.
Well, again, it starts by being a good example.
Mm.
They have to walk the walk before they can talk the talk. They've got to demonstrate the value of managing your money and not waiting till it gets out of control, not waiting till you have the celebrity cave-in moment. It's it's about, starting slow. You can't just all of a sudden unload on them with all this stuff. It starts by just having a conversation about the money. It's just talking why we make money, why how we get our food, and having all those things, and answer the questions that they have about those conversations just in a simple way. Just start slow, but start now. Don't wait. Include it, like I said, at dinner time. Talk about the budget, talk about money, talk about those things and how money can benefit us. And be honest. If you went into debt and you build up your credit cards, you have to be open and honest with them. Say, Daddy used credit cards and it wasn't good. And I've been paying on these things for a long time, and it cost me money to do that. So, and instead of covering it up, when money is tight, tell your kids the truth. Be honest. They want honesty
Hmm.
from their parents, right? And talk values. Talk about the values. If you're hesitant about, disclosing salary and major expenses, that's okay. Don't sweat it. The good news is that kids don't really want or need to know that stuff. They need concepts. Saving, budgeting, paying down debt, giving. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS, right? Don't
Like it.
don't go over their heads with all this stuff, right? And set some family goals. That's, again, hey, we'd like to go on a vacation sometime. We'd like to, go camping, or, go to Disney World someday. I don't know. I mean, set some goals that they have a part in that, and contributing to those meetings on a regular basis. Just remember that, mom and dad are the adults here. The kids don't run the meeting, And you just have to set those goals and remind them of that there is sacrifice in achieving those goals. Get them to understand there's a trade-off
Mm,
between we have choices to make. So you want to go for that ice cream? Okay, but we talked about this. Remember, I mean, not that it's not okay to go have an ice cream, but let's plan for that.
yep.
Every week we get to go have ice cream because we did good the rest of the week. I didn't buy that Starbucks. You don't get that candy bar because we're going to go have ice cream.
Hmm.
So simple concepts of consequences, choices, sacrifices. This is what we all have to learn in life. These are all values that create, again, our overall um, lifestyle, our priorities, what things we want to see them grow as adults, become successful, and it starts, in the home. So just keep it simple, but start having the conversation. Don't wait.
I love it. And like you said too, it helps them out with so many different areas of life as well that it really shows them kind of what it's all about. Even if you said, okay, I don't get that candy bar, but we do get to go have ice cream on Friday night or something. Now, when it comes to just increasing the financial knowledge, you know what I mean, within their kids, what are maybe some key things? I think like one would be budgeting, saving, earning, but what are some things that are kind of simple, but still very early on, you can kind of get your kids to start increasing their financial knowledge around certain terms or certain different things.
Well, it starts with good habits, right? We got to build good habits.
Hmm.
You got to brush your teeth every night or your teeth are going to fall out of your head. I'm sorry. That's just, good habit is brush your teeth twice a day, right?
Yep.
And showing them that stuff costs money. It just, it just doesn't fall out of the sky. Those are things that we need to build in them this understanding of the value of money and the choices that we make. Having a jar on the counter that's the savings. You got that mason jar sitting there, and we're throwing our extra pennies in there every day, and we see it growing. We see that, and then we go and we change those coins in, and we go put it in take them through the process. They've got to see it happen. We got to demonstrate it, and we got to show them how that works, right? Um, you know, I know everybody wants to give allowances. Every Johnny gets $5 every week for an allowance. Well, you know, instead of that, it's about a commission,
Mm,
not an allowance. Uh, you know, uh, they have to understand money is earned and
yep.
avoid impulse buying. Don't go shopping and all of a sudden, oh, gee, that dress looks nice. I'm going to buy, avoid demonstrating to them values that are not consistent with what you're trying to teach them. Don't demonstrate things that are not part of what you want them to learn.
Hmm.
Check yourself, right? Oh, look, mommy bought a new dress. Oh, daddy got a new drill for playing around in the garage. You know, uh, and then, stressing the importance of giving, just being thoughtful about that, demonstrating that. Um, you know, give them a bank account, set their own bank account up. I remember one of the first things I had was a home savings and loan bank account, and I used to watch that money we had the little folder, the little thing, and I'd go and I'd put my money and they'd write in there what the balance was, and I watched that thing grow. And um, you know, that's that's something that you can see. It's tangible. Um, Teach them about not getting into debt. Steer away from student loans. Hey Johnny, you know what? If you work really hard, you get great grades, and you're very smart, you can get a scholarship. You can
Hmm.
apply for these scholarships. right? Or, maybe they're a great athlete and they get a scholarship, but remember, you're not going there to become a star in the NBA. You're going there to get this education. Remember why we're doing this. Many times these basketball players or football players, they go to college, they don't show up for class, they don't get the degree, and then football career, you're only going to last a few years. That's an asset that is not easily maintained, right? You're going to get hurt. You better have learned how to start a business
Hmm.
and that you've got something else to fall back on. That's the purpose of the education, and help them to create their own simple budget. Teach them just how to start their own budget. Help them to figure it all out. Show them, okay, so here's Johnny's mowing lawns every week. He gets $25, and then that's his money, but he's got to put aside certain things to use that money for, that's responsible, that's going to follow him all the days of his life.
So would you say then teaching the kids with the money, whether it's the commission, they're earning it themselves, cutting lawns, would you say teach them the $0 budget
Yep.
with their own little bit of money then?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So on a monthly basis, everything had a place that it was assigned to. You
Love
know,
it.
you're giving some, you're saving for college, you have some expenses. Maybe Johnny has to pay for his own shoes once in a while if he wants that
Hmm.
pair of Jordans, if that's what he wants. But maybe he'll learn to just have a simple pair of kids. And yeah, again, it's the values you're going to teach them, and having it be as visual so that they can understand that as possible.
I love it. Now, could you just talk maybe to not necessarily the kids, but to the parents so they can have a conversation with the kids about what you said, staying out of debt and how important it is? Because, I mean, most people, I'm sure, had a bad experience with the credit card, maybe when they were young, and then felt the repercussions later on in life. But just really about educating their kids about the power of staying out of debt and especially staying out of like bad debt.
Well, yeah, Dave Ramsey has a lot of resources. One of the things he talks about is the 7 baby steps.
Yes, sir.
It starts, it's simple, right? You save $1,000, you pay off all your debt, you have an emergency fund, you save towards retirement, you build college education, you pay off your home early, and then you give out of you give and you live, right?
Hmm.
So, you need to know what debt is. You need to know the the effects of that debt, how that's going to affect not just you. It's not just a number. Debt is anything that you owe that's standing between you and your goals. You have to understand that the bigger picture is achieving greater than what you've achieved in the past. Now, don't beat yourself up. You can change. And that's what I teach my coaching clients. Again, creating a new mindset. Now, what I tell a story about when the conquistadors came to America. There's a term called burning the boats. Have you heard that
Hmm.
before?
I love it.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So when they came to America, there was no going back. You didn't surrender to running away or retreat. You burned the boat so that you're all in.
Hmm.
This is what you're going to pursue. And another term that Dave Ramsey uses is fleeing debt like a gazelle from a lion. You're going to run as fast as you can from that, and you're not looking back, and you're going to achieve those goals that you've set. It starts with that beginning mindset, and that, again, that debt is keeping you from achieving those long-term goals that really is going to make a difference in your life. So,
Mm.
and there's all kinds of debt. There's all types of debt, that hold you back in various ways, learning about the different types of debt, secured debt, unsecured debt, revolving debt, non-revolving debt, sneaky debt, you know, I bought a 2002 Toyota Tacoma for $4,000. It's got over 300,000 miles on it. I haven't had a car payment in over 12 years. I put oil in it every
Hmm.
3,000 miles, put new tires on it. It's not a luxury vehicle, but it gets me to where I want to go. And it's kept me on the road pretty consistently. There's been a few things I've had to do repairs, but that's why you have the emergency fund. So gosh, talked to a guy the other day. He wants to buy a Mercedes Benz. I go, really? He just got a settlement for some money, and automatically he thinks, I'm going to go out and buy the car of my dreams. Well, you're dreaming about getting into debt, and then you're going to have less later on. Instead of,
Mhm.
paying that for that Mercedes, and they're charging you what, I don't know how much interest on it over how many years. You drive it off the lot, it's already depreciated. So find a good certified used car, pay cash, and find one that's going to last you for a long time. It's just stay out of debt, run from debt. Don't think about going into debt. It's hard to pay for a house out of pocket. So find a good place to live, and buy a house that you can put at least a 20% down payment on, that's going to cut back on your PMI, give you a lower interest, a lower payment over time. Make an extra payment a year, and you're going to pay off that loan quicker than you did before. You're going to have that house paid off a lot sooner. So make those decisions about staying out of debt, paying down debt, what's good debt, bad debt, and how do you approach that?
I love that. I love that. And also, it's kind of hard to realize until you're in the situation. But when you have, let's just say, an additional $3,000 home payment just disappear all of a sudden, and now that's $3,000 a month coming in. Once you start receiving that money, or once you start being on the other end where now you're giving it, it really comes into like full where you're like, oh wow, that is a big impact in my life. Having an additional $3,000 a month can go a long way.
Mhm.
Um, when it comes to young kids who maybe, let's say, they want to go off and start a business, a lot of times, they'll probably start a service-based business, something that they can kind of just trade some time for money, not super crazy. But what would you say around personal finances and like business finances when it comes to the same thing? Would you want them to go out and get a little business loan of some type, or do you think it's better to start smaller and kind of work your way up if it's coming more into a business setting rather than the personal setting?
Well, first of all, knowing what type of business you want to do is,
Hmm.
is huge. And then getting a mentor, somebody who's started a business,
Hmm.
who knows the ins and outs maybe of that particular business. You've seen the
Yep.
movie Shark Tank, right?
Yep.
They go before them with their idea, and then some people say, "Nah, I'm not in. I'm not in." But then they want to throw, some guy's going to want to throw, but I want 25% of the revenue. So, I mean, there's a lot of good ideas out there. There's a lot of bad ideas. Knowing that your idea is going to work, having a business plan before you go out, and having it structured so that, again, you do have a budget for the business, knowing what the cost of operations are, knowing what how you're going to market the business, how you're going to grow the business, what your expenses are going to be, what's the projected bottom line, how are you going to come out, after all that, and what do you see the potential for the future is. Are there people that would want to invest in your business? How is your business structured? Is it an LLC? Is it an S corp? Those are all things as far as your tax influences are going to affect you. So there's a great resource. It's called SCORE, SCORE. They're business mentors. They help people put businesses together all the time. So if they're thinking about starting a business, it's finding a good mentor, coming up with a good business plan, and then knowing exactly how you're going to grow that business. Maybe it's online, you're going to have your own website, you got to have that, you got to market on social media, or where are you going to do that? Google ads, all that's going to cost. So
Mhm.
having a budget for the business is just as important as having a budget for your personal life, every aspect of having that business.
Yes, sir. Now, when it comes to increasing financial knowledge, do you have any books specifically more toward geared towards like the teenage, age frame that will open up their eyes to not only new information, but also kind of the way the money works, the way the world works?
Yeah, there are certain things that they can look for online. I think that's searching for good um, information. I mean, Dave Ramsey has a book, Baby Steps Becoming a Millionaire. That those teach basic principles, how
Okay.
to how to get yourself started, growing your credit, doing things that are wise. Um, then I talk about, you can see behind me how the rich get richer, Gabriel Shahin. I kind of consider him Dave Ramsey on steroids, if you will. He has his own podcast, More Knowledge, More Wealth.
Mm.
He has a lot of resources on there that would be of help to them. Just going online and on Amazon and looking for any types of books that teach about how to grow your wealth. There's a lot of different people out there that have got good knowledge on that. And are good podcasts. A lot of people get information from podcasts and so forth. So, like I said, Gabriel has a podcast. Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there. They just need to do their research.
Love it. Love it. Okay, now we're kind of nearing down to the hour here. So what I'd like you to do is if there's a homeschooling family out there, even all of them, kind of what can Falcon do? And I know you kind of explained it at the beginning, but what all is like the steps and the processes if they're maybe interested, they want to get set up, they want to take the initiative to, pursue this. What are some things Falcon can do to kind of help them and steer them in the right direction?
Great. Yeah. Well, I appreciate the opportunity again to just spend some time with both of you and talk about these things. It is a passion of mine. I am a teacher at heart. That's what Dave Ramsey says. Find an advisor that has the heart of a teacher.
Yeah.
So you want to have somebody that's going to invest in you and going to give you things that you can't get on your own. So as far as reaching out to Falcon, we have a website, falconwealthplanning.com. There's a slew of resources on our website there's a knowledge center there that they can go on to, and they can get a lot of information there for no cost. If they're in a place where maybe they've never met with a financial advisor before, then they could request to have a free assessment. They could fill out a form. They would connect with my team. We could schedule a time with an advisor. Maybe they have an advisor they're not happy with. We'll do a second opinion. We'll say, here's what we're seeing. This is what we would recommend. Not sure what's going on with with your advisor, but we give you our understanding of your situation and provide you with actionable recommendations you could take and follow on your own. If you are struggling with, getting the basics, I highly recommend going to Dave Ramsey, ramseysolutions.com. Going on his website, there's a slew of information there. If you needed some extra help to kind of somebody to hold your feet to the fire, I can work for them as a financial coach. I
Mm.
usually do a coaching consultation, and that's on our website as well. Uh, I don't charge for the first time, but then after that, it's $200 a session. It's an hour session for each session. We start with basically what I've been talking about today. Getting a budget in place, getting a mindset, having people focused on growing their wealth and getting out of debt. It all starts with building that budget and knowing where you need to go. I had a conversation with a couple just the other day. Again, He's the spender, she's the saver. Some ways it's a lot about family counseling. we we don't have, opposites attract. We're, it's rare that you'll see two people that have the same mindset to begin with. One's the over the top performer, yay, let's have fun. The other one, well, we got to be thinking about the future. How do we bring the two, mindsets together? How do we come into this? How do we get together, first of all? Did we talk about this? And a lot of times they never talked about money before they got married.
Mm,
They never had that conversation. They didn't really sit down and talk about the real values of life and the future. Oh yeah, I'd like to have kids someday. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd like to have a big house. And okay, well, how do we get there? So it starts with that, coming together, understanding each other, and giving, everybody talks about, marriage being 50-50, but it's 100 and 100. A lot,
mm.
a lot of times it's 100 to 0. You're giving it all and they're not giving anything. So how do you deal with that? Well, you need to have some conversations. You might need some extra help. So
Yep.
I can come alongside of people if they want to change and they want to become a better team. They want their family company to benefit from all that they have, to be a blessing and to be blessed.
Love
So
it. Love it.
so that's another way I can help. Like I said, the resources are out there. Um, Highly recommend Gabriel's book online, Amazon.com, How the Rich Get Richer. So, and happy to have a conversation with anybody that wants to have that conversation.
Can you also say Gabriel's podcast name one more time for me?
More knowledge, more wealth, Gabriel Shahin.
Love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
that's actually how Gabriel and I first connected. I worked for Salem Media Group. I sold air.
Okay. Okay.
I sold radio advertising.
Yep.
And Gabriel was one of my first clients. One of my clients, I brought him on the radio, and he had a half-hour show every Saturday, More Knowledge, More Wealth. Well, it evolved into a podcast now. So you can get it on Apple Podcasts, all the podcasts. He has his own YouTube channel. Got a lot of information on that, Gabriel Shaheen. Yeah, so that's how we struck up a relationship, and been working together here for the last 6 years, and just watching this. He named me the machine because I came on board and I throw everything I am into whatever I'm doing. And now we have a factory. It's not just the machine, it's the
Right.
factory. So
Love that.
we've been cranking here for the last 6 years. We're on track to hit 2 billion in AUM, hopefully within,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, we're
Great.
growing that fast. And it's been a real ride. So
I've also heard that in order to do radio sales, it's one of the hardest things in the world. So props to you, man, because
yeah.
I've heard that it's a grind.
If you can sell air, you can sell anything.
All right. Well, Mr. Harris, man, thank you so much for joining us. We'll make sure to include all those links, his book, his podcast, everything with Falcon Wealth. And we just want to say thank you for everyone here
Yeah.
Yes.
taking your
Will I
time to
be
talk
able
with
to
us.
get a copy of the recording?
Of
Sure.
course. Yes, sir. And we
Yeah, sure.
also we also write a blog and we create a resource around every interview. So we can
Okay.
send you those as well.
I hope this was of help. I hope it was
Yeah.
beneficial, that it
Mhm.
struck some notes that you wanted me to strike.
Without a doubt, my man. I think you killed it, dude.
Okay. Thank you, you two. It's been a blessing. Appreciate
All
Thank
it.
right.
you.
Let me
Thank
know
you,
if I can
sir.
be of service in the future.
Will
Thank
do.
you so much.
Take care.